Hey, now this, President Trump to meet with Australia's Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull today in New York City. President Obama's secretive refugee deal, remember that? It's going to be a huge topic. Nick Adams joins us now. He is, of course, a green card warrior author. President Trump told everyone to read the book. He made a lot of money on that. We'll talk about that later. Let's talk about this meeting. It's interesting because when I look at Malcolm Turnbull, he seems to be in the Donald Trump mode. I mean, it's tough on immigration from what I could see, and he doesn't want the immigrants that are there now. So what's going to happen here with when these two leaders meet?
Well, look, Charles, there's definitely some similarity in terms of their background. Both were businessmen turned politicians, but Donald Trump's an alpha male and Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull is more of a beta male. And as a result, I don't think that their personalities really get together.
Does that explain that phone call that we heard about?
It most certainly does. It most certainly does. And my sources tell me that it was even worse than what was reported. Look, this was an Obama-era deal, as you point out, Charles, that has no upside for the United States of America at all. I think that President Trump, unfortunately, is in a position where he can't let down what's considered one of America's most key allies, and so he's got to reluctantly honour this deal, but I think there is going to be quite a frosty element to this meeting that's coming up in New York.
But by the same token, their positions echo the fact that they both have some extreme concerns about these refugees fleeing these countries and terrorists being embedded amongst them, or them being too much of a burden on their new host countries.
Well, definitely, Charles, although it's important to remember, and I don't want to get too detailed about it, but really Malcolm Turnbull had no choice because his predecessor, who he actually stole the job from, is the person that really did the work on securing Australia's borders and making sure that illegal immigration wasn't such a problem. He's kind of kept that going because it was so popular. So in that sense, there is some symbiosis, but the truth is that I don't think Malcolm Turnbull is... I think Malcolm Turnbull is much more of an open borders guy than what his current policy is.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The headlines I've read recently have made me feel that perhaps that they were also taking a pretty strong stance, but that's wrong.
Well, look, Australia is, but I don't think that Malcolm Turnbull's very happy about it.
I got you. All right, Nick. I want to talk to you about France's presidential election. These candidates, Marine Le Pen and centrist Macron, they had their final debate last night. It was apparently a serious Donnybrook, all right? I mean, they just went at it. And, of course, the vote is over the weekend. Voters are going to decide who the leader should be, but you like Le Pen. You think she would be a better choice for the French people?
Look, I'm for America, Charles, and I think if you're for America, it's going to be in America's interest for Le Pen. I'm rooting for Le Pen. Look, that debate last night I don't think really reflected very well on either of them. I thought she came across rather arrogant and snarky, and he came across like a moribund, vacuous robot with talking points. I think that at the end of the day, though, we need someone who's going to be in the Trump mould. We need someone who's going to say to hell with political correctness, and I think as far as that's concerned, Marine Le Pen is definitely the better option.
What's hurting her right now? Is it the baggage from her father, the early days of the National Front, or is it just the embedded left-leaning French people who are taking longer to make that realization that their old ways aren't going to work anymore?
Look, it's a little bit of everything, Charles. I think it's definitely fair to say I'm uneasy about her father and that kind of baggage that she does carry. You've also got to remember now that the French have had several generations of kind of this leftist, secular, avowedly politically correct thinking, right, and that's very hard for them to shed.
You know, President Obama sort of threatened the British folks, right, and saying that, you know, if you vote for Brexit, you'll be in the back of the queue. Now he's publicly endorsed Macron. Does that hurt or help Le Pen?
Well, look, I really don't know exactly how that's going to play out in the thing. The other thing we've got to remember is that there's a lot of, as much anti-terror sentiment as there is in France, there's also a lot of anti-American sentiment. So I really don't know how that'll play out.
All right, Nick, thank you very much. Always appreciate it.
Thank you.